Complete the table of values for the equation 4x minus 3y equals 24. And here we have a table. The first column represents the x values. The second column represents the y values. So we see here that here x equals 3, right? We see that the y value here is blank, right? So what do you think that means here? Okay, it means that in this case, if x equals 3, right? So we want to plug in x equals 3 into the equation and then figure out what the corresponding y value is, okay? So 4 times 3 minus 3y equals 24. And we notice that here we should be able to solve this for y, right? So just doing a little bit of algebra. So 4 times 3 is 12. And so 12 minus 3y equals 24. We'll subtract the 12 to both sides. Remember, we're solving this for y, right? So the 12s will cancel out on the left side. So we get negative 3y equals 12 here. And then lastly, we'll divide both sides by negative 3. So that cancels out the negative 3's here, which does leave us with y by itself. So what does y equal then? Y equals 12 divided by negative 3, which is negative 4. Yeah, so what does that mean? It means that when x equals 3, right, the corresponding y value for this equation is negative 4. So let's go ahead and do the others, right? When x equals 0. So that means we're going to plug in 0 for x and then solve for y here. Okay. Well, if anything times 0 is just 0, right? So this becomes negative 3y equals 24. Right? So here we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. The negative 3's cancel out on the left. So we are left with just y. And y then is 24 divided by negative 3, which is negative 8. So when x is 0, y is negative 8. Now we could write that as an ordered pair also, right? When x is 0, y is negative 8. Okay. All right, notice in this case we are given the y value of 0. And the x spot is blank, right? So we are going to plug in the y equals 0 and then solve for x. So 4x minus 3 times 0 equals 24. Once again, anything times 0 is just 0, so we get 4x equals 24. And we can divide both sides by 4 here. That'll isolate the x term because 4's cancel out. So what are we left with in this case? X equals 6. Once again, we can write that as an ordered pair, right? 6, 0. Lastly, y is equal to 6. Okay, so I'll do that in this space here. 4x minus 3 times y, but in the space of y, I'm going to plug in the value of 6 there, right? That just, 3 times 6 is 18. Now I do want to solve this guy for x, right? So that means I'm going to have to add 18 to both sides. That cancels out the 18s on the left. Okay, so we get 4x equals 42. And lastly then, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So of course that cancels out the 4's, which we want, right? So we're left with x all by itself. And x equals 42 over 4. We can reduce that to 21 over 2. Or you can do 10.5 or 10.5 in that case, right? So I'm just going to put that as a decimal, right? 10.5. So as an ordered pair, then what is that ordered pair? It's 10.5, 6.